Well, Blue Jays fans, let's get pumped. We had a hell of a day yesterday in Toronto Blue Jays baseball. Good news, good ball game, and another comeback win. So let's talk Toronto Blue Jays baseball right here on Jays Latest. We're going to talk all things Blue Jays, and we're going to talk fun, like I mentioned. So make sure you hit those like, share, subscribe buttons so you can find us every day here on Jays Latest. And let's just dive into the news first, because the Blue Jays actually got some really good news as far as Max Scherzer is concerned. Yesterday during the game, they announced that he is going to be heading to Buffalo to be able to get his first rehab stint in. His goal is to get around 60 to 65 pitches Friday night, and the point on that would be to see how the thumb holds up for a regulation, game at that point. Um, if everything goes well, the following day or 5 days, he will turn around and do the same thing, but aiming for around 80 pitches. Right now, the biggest thing is I've noticed that in sim games and everything, he is fine. Bullpens, he's fine. That next piece is seeing how he holds up with that nerve in his thumb for an actual, good outing where he ramps everything up. So we'll see what happens on there, but that is good news. The Blue Jays could use some of the pitching reinforcement. So, what else is going on? If you have not been paying attention to the minor leagues, you really need to start paying attention to one of the Blue Jays' top prospects, and that is Trey Yesavage. He literally just had a blip of time in the Vancouver Canadians organization. It appears he might already be heading to the Eastern League to play with the New Hampshire Fisher Cats at the Double-A level. So, why would you say that all of a sudden? He's only been there for like 17, 20 innings or so in the Vancouver Canadians. It's like, well, in this person's opinion, the boy needs a challenge because he has sure not seen one yet. Just like his teammate Arjun Namala, um, in Vancouver, he has a .86 batting average against him. So Trey Savage has been just mowing through hitters in the that with the Vancouver Canadians, and as that's shown, just to show the season period between the Dunedin Blue Jays and the Vancouver Canadians, he's thrown 50 innings and he struck out 88 people. Holy shnikes! So, like I said, this boy is definitely needing a challenge, and he is not getting that in the lower levels of the Blue Jays minor league system. So if you get him up to New Hampshire, where he can play against the Eastern League, that is usually where the prospects of prospects gather for a while, because it is meant to be a challenging league. So this is the levels that Vlad and Bo and everybody have spent a whole year at. So either way, this is very exciting. This is a hell of a talent the Blue Jays have not seen come through their organization as a pitching prospect for a very, very long time. So hopefully we get to see Trey Savage continue to mow through hitters. But like I said, I really think he needs a challenge, because I'd rather have him figure these things out in the minor leagues rather than getting up to the Blue Jays and having troubles. So we'll see what happens. But speaking of fun and everything, troubles, this thing, that thing, all kinds of drama. Yesterday, if you were watching this game, it was the ups and downs of them all as the Blue Jays secure their 20th comeback victory of this short season. Yes, you heard that right. 20. But Craig, don't the Blue Jays only have like 36 wins? You're correct. That means basically half of our wins have been comeback wins. And when you look at what this Blue Jays record has been at 36 and 30 after last night, they have had to come back every game. They have gotten into a hole. They have not scored enough runs. When they do score runs, it's not that many earlier in the season. How many one-run games have we been in? It's not shocking that they have that many comeback victories so far this season. And we're going to talk about how we got there. So let's talk Jose Barrios first, because this man had a heck of an outing, and at times it looked like he was, I won't say struggling, but just maybe command fun. But he got through 6 2/3 with 89 pitches yesterday. 4 hits, not his normal strikeout self. So maybe it wasn't the best stuff, but Barrios found a way to do it. And this is what you get when you got a veteran like Jose Barrios in your pitching rotation. He's going to find a way to win, or he's going to go out there and figure something out to keep his team in this game. No earned runs, only 2 walks. Like I said, this was the one thing that was a little surprising, was the strikeouts only having the one singular. not plural. So, but only allowing 4 hits, so that's 6 total base runners for him. So, like I said, even if he didn't have his best stuff, he found a way to win, and it looked very good doing it. So, good kudos to Jose Barrios yesterday because the battery was the point last night. Um, Everything looked really, really good for a long time in this game, but it was only 2-0 for the Toronto Blue Jays for the longest and longest of times. Barrios didn't have that giant piece to hang his hat on for a lead, but he was keeping them in the game. Um, Things were moving in the right direction. And then in the 8th inning, the hamster fell off the wheel for the pitching a little bit. But getting there, George Springer picked up another RBI. Addison Barger was the one that scored on that, continuing to do great things. Bo Bichette scores Ernie Clement, who is still finding a way to contribute massively to this team, and I still think he needs more playing time. Um, we'll see what happens. My biggest problem on that whole thing is Ernie Clement's batting 273, and you have Andres Jimenez who's batting a buck, like barely over 200, so he's just over the Mendoza line. So you got to find a way to get some extra playing time for Ernie Clement somewhere around this team. But Addison Barger actually scored 2 runs because the King was batting behind him. Alejandro Kirk, the Maple Beef, actually just crushing baseballs of late and continued in full form yesterday. 4 for 5, 2 RBIs, runs scored because he had a dinger yesterday, hitting the home run. Very clutch timing too. 8th inning, Blue Jays are down, finds a way to get them in striking distance after they had fallen behind at that point. So, um, just to keep the ball moving, right? It got there. Something. Oh, okay, that's right. It's taking the first off. So Turkey has been nothing short of phenomenal. So I'm gonna use this opportunity to just pronounce him king instead of captain, because right now Alejandro Kirk is nothing short of an all-star player for this team. And Blue Jays fans, get out there and start voting for your boy because Alejandro Kirk deserves to be the best catcher in Major League Baseball at this point, or at least the American League. So get out there, get those votes in for Alejandro Kirk, and let's get the captain in the starting lineup this time. It's for his second All Star appearance. Um, so, how did we get to the crazy? That's the bigger question here, because you heard me say comeback. Right now, where we were talking about here, Brandon Little was on the mound for over an inning at this point and gives up 2 earned runs. Still struck out 3, which is just nuts. All 3 of his outs that he recorded were strikeouts, but the St. Louis Cardinals has found ways to keep chipping away, chipping away, chipping away. Eventually take the lead from the now at the time 3-0 Toronto Blue Jays. But it was just rough to watch. It looked like an implosion. Now, after all the highs of having Kirk hit the home run that actually literally bounced off a guy's glove over the center field wall, Wilson Contreras drives in a run. Then Ivan Herrera hits a 2-run, oh, sorry, 3-run home run. I forgot. As I say, I didn't think 2 runs sounded right. The backup catcher hits his 7th home run of the season. He's been DHing a lot. Puts the Cardinals up 4-3 heading into the top of the 9th. So now we have to face Ryan Helsley, who has been one of the better closers in Major League Baseball. Did that scare Jonathan Clase specifically? Apparently not, because Clase, first home run of the season, takes him deep, and it was an epic home run. Very, very sweet swing, beautiful lefty swing, ties it up 4-4, going to extras. So in extras, Alejandro Kirk comes back to the dish and again comes up with a monster hit that scores Addison Barger on the double. And like I said, cannot say enough good things about Alejandro Kirk, and I am so happy to see him back in form to this kind of a player because this is the kind of player I saw in the minor leagues when I saw him hitting monster tanks over the batter's eye in Bluefield, West Virginia for the Bluefield Blue Jays. It's just insane what he can do when he barrels up baseballs, and it is so cool to see him on the high of highs right now as the full battery of this team lately. because obviously supporting a pitching staff is a whole nother piece to this as well, and he has done that in spades. So now the Blue Jays have the victory in sight. Jeff Hoffman comes out of the bullpen, no hits, no walks, picks up a strikeout, 16th save of the season. So Yadier Rodriguez gets credited with the blown save, but did actually very well his full inning of work. But unfortunately gives up the home run to Herrera when he came in for Brandon Little. So got to wear that 3-run home run. But tis what it is. That's how the ball goes sometimes. But the Blue Jays do walk out of this one with a victory to make themselves 36-30, and which is ironically the same exact record as the St. Louis Cardinals. So next, we get the St. Louis Cardinals again. So today it's going to be Chris Bassitt versus Miles Mikolas, and this is actually a really fun matchup for Major League Baseball today, period, as far as the pitchers are concerned. Both of these guys having good seasons. Obviously, two very different types of pitchers. Mikolas has got 4-2 right now, 61.1 innings, and he's got a 1.27 ERA, looking really good, just under 4 for his ERA. Very cool, very good for the St. Louis Cardinals, seeing their guy back at it a little bit. Chris Bassitt, similar, very similar. It's almost like eerily similar. Like these guys are copies of each other. More innings, but the same whip, near 3.5 ERA for Chris Bassitt. A ton more strikeouts. That would be the main difference between these two. As far as guys that have done really well against Chris Bassitt, because they have gotten the opportunity to beat him up while he was a Met. He's given up a good chunk of home runs at a very small sample size to some of these guys that are in the St. Louis Cardinals lineup. Alec Burleson has got a home run. So does Nick Donovan and Nolan Gorman. And these guys, just like I said, there's 4 home runs right there. Gorman having 2 in just few at bats, 2 at bats. Oh my God, he's batting 1,000. So, hopefully the Bassett's obviously a very different pitcher than when these guys saw him the last few years, because Bassett is at the top of his game at the age of 36. It looks very good to see what we're getting out of Chris Bassitt. Meanwhile, Mikolas has gotten beaten up by a couple of our guys too, so at least there's that. Davis Schneider has a home run against him, along with George Springer, and Schneider is 2 for 2 against him so far. So, like I said, small sample sizes all around for the matchups today. But at the end of the day, go Blue Jays, of course. So, anyway, we'll be back tomorrow to talk more Blue Jays baseball. Thank God we have some good news for a change outside of the victories that we've been getting, and we'll keep going from there. Talk to you soon. I'll make sure you check out Trey Savage's next start because he's been on fire. Good day. Cheers.